English 12 onliners, you are in the home stretch. It's like you can see the finish line, just don't trip. Gotta keep on running. So we're finishing up the semester with a novel called Fahrenheit 451. It's a dystopian novel set in the future. I always start with a lecture. If there's a slideshow, and you should probably take a look at it. I put it in your classwork. Ray Bradbury wrote this book, and it was published in 1953. And in 1953, there wasn't a lot of technology or futuristic stuff out there. And he predicted a whole bunch of things that have come true, which is wild, and why every year it seems to be that he predicts more and more things, like, for instance, wireless earbuds, interactive TV shows, flying cars, and then he predicted a lot of things about society that are scarily seeming to come true as well. So anyway, what I'm going to do is you should have gotten a link to the electronic copy of the book, or you could probably go to the media center and check out a novel if you want like a hard copy, or you can buy your own. They're not that expensive. But the book does not have chapters, it has parts. There are 3 parts. And then, so part 1, part 2, and part 3 each have their own study guides. I'm going to just release all of that after I get done with the Hamlet stuff. And you can work at your own pace, meaning if you're like I was as a kid, I would want to get it all done and be done with this class, except for the final. The final you'll have to take on that Wednesday with everybody else. That's the last day of school because that Friday you guys are going to visit your elementary schools. Anyway, for this novel, like I said, you can read ahead if you would like to. I'm going to do little summaries about each part though. So I'm starting with part 1 today and just kind of giving you a heads up. Sadly, this is how disorganized. These are my notes. Yeah, okay. So each part has a title, and that means something. Part 1 is called The Hearth and the Salamander. A hearth represents like a fireplace, aka the home. A salamander is the logo for the main character's job. He's a firefighter, and they have salamanders on their jackets and on their fire trucks. And so this book, our part 1, represents home versus work life of the main character. The main character's name is Guy Montag. The setting is United States sometime in the future. We don't know what city. I guess kind of a big city, it sounds like. Ray Bradbury did give us a quote at the beginning of this novel, and it is, "If they give you ruled paper, write the other way." In other words, this whole book is encouraging people to think for themselves, or to maybe challenge things. If someone says, hey, this is what you should believe, this is what you should think, maybe that's not what you should think or believe. So to think for yourselves, because the people in the novel don't. All right, so there's a few characters that are important. Obviously, Guy Montag, he's a 30-year-old guy. He is a firefighter in the future, and firefighters in the future are agents of censorship. They burn books. So books are not allowed. Houses are fireproofed now in the future. There's a sheath over them. If you want to burn a house down, you have to take the sheath off, which is sometimes what they do if someone's been found with books. So he's the main character. At the beginning of the story, he really loves his job. He feels like he's a badass, you know, with his badge and stuff. But he has an existential crisis right away, like before we get to page 20. So it's him, and then there's 2 women that are pretty much foils for each other. They're opposites. Guy is married, and his wife's name is Mildred. You'll learn later on in the book what she looks like. She's really pretty. Like most of the people in the future are like people today. They work out, try to, you know, do their hair and nails and things like that. But she's pretty shallow. She constantly has her earbuds in and is watching TV. Entertainment's really important to her. She really cares about herself more than anyone else. Right away in the novel, Guy comes home from work and she has overdosed on sleeping pills. Whether or not it's intentional, don't know. Guys come out and pump her stomach. They don't even go to the hospital for these in the future because so many people are overdosing. So obviously, drugs are a huge problem in the future. Another woman, Clarice McClellan, she's a neighbor that had just moved nearby Guy Montag's house. She's 17. She's a change agent in the book. So Mildred, the wife, represents society as a whole. That's how most people are. But Clarice is like alive and vibrant. She's not like a zombie. She gets in trouble at school because she asks questions like why. And then she ends up being friends with Montag for a short time. She walks home with him when he gets done with his work. And she rattles him because she's present. Like she actually looks in his eyes when he's talking, and he feels like she could see inside of him, like how he's feeling. He's reminded that there's something missing in his life. She asks him if he's happy, and of course he's like, well, of course I'm happy. But then he realizes he's really not. He's just going through the motions. And of course that sets the ball in motion for anytime you admit to yourself that you're not happy, you got to do something to change it. All right, so that's kind of the conflict at the beginning. You see at his work, there's a mechanical hound. So firefighters, sometimes fire stations have Dalmatian dogs that they have at the station, and in the future there's mechanical hounds, so they're machines. But these machines are deadly. They can track you down by your DNA and kill you. So it's got this needle that it can inject you in case they're looking for someone. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? Oh, there's some foreshadowing too in part 1. Guy Montag looks at the ventilator grill in his wall, and he says there's something behind there. Don't know what that might be. And then occasionally there's fighter jets that fly over, and they're super loud, and we don't know why that is at the time. At his boss's name is Captain Beatty, so he represents authority. He's all about censoring things and keeping people happy, he says. He says that censoring things is good because we don't want to offend anyone. They get a fire call. Someone has books in the house, and usually when they show up, the person's gone, but this lady's still there. She won't leave. And then she lights a match and drops it in the kerosene and burns alive, and that really bothers Montag. It's like, what's in books that makes someone do something like that, you know? And then he realizes there's a quote towards the end of part 1 where he says, you know, we need not to be let alone. We need to be really bothered once in a while, because in the future it's all about being happy, not being bothered. And then Captain Beatty comes to Montag's house after this lady has burned alive, and he's upset about it. Not Captain Beatty, he's not upset, but Montag is. And he gives the history of how this all happened, how books disappeared, how it wasn't because of the government. People didn't want them anymore, and especially they didn't want to offend anyone. All right, so he said that society got really big. Everybody had different interests. You know, it seems like any kind of book or any kind of idea was offensive, and so they just wiped it out. So in the future, in this book, you can read 3 things. Instructional manuals, which of course you would have to have those, comics, and then they have 3D porn. So like sex is fine, drugs are fine, as long as you're happy. All right, so of course that's not really the recipe for being happy. Lots of people are self-medicating. So that's all about part 1. But at the end of part 1, Clarice has disappeared. Can't remember if you find out why or not. But she is the person that wakes him up. So that's about it. A short summary for part 1, and I will do another one of these videos next week when you're reading part 2. Good luck.